So, episode one of Lorcanarama, and I am going to be having a special guest with me today. If you tuned into episode before, that was a pilot episode. Supposedly, during that episode, I overcame my technical difficulties, but as you can see, I did not. So, I'd like to welcome everybody who came on, and I appreciate the chat there. Had feedback. Hopefully, everything is clear now. So I want to tell you why I'm here before I get started with bringing on my guest today. So I quit TCGs in 2017. I swore I'd never play again. And then this game came along. But just because it's a game that came along, it didn't really mean it was all that interested. What interested me in it is I have a young daughter, and I just wanted to play the game with her. I went to the store to buy some cards. I met a couple folks that were in the store sitting there waiting to play Lorcana, and they were like, "Oh, you should come hang out with us." I did. My daughter comes there and plays now, and we went to a DLC in Atlanta, and I wasn't so sure I was going to do competitive stuff. They talked me into going, but I enjoyed the community so much in Atlanta that I just decided, hey, I want to do whatever I can to make sure this community is hanging around when my daughter gets old enough to maybe go to a DLC. So took about a year or so, and now here I am. This podcast is streamed. These videos that we'll be making are really my love letter back to the community. I want it to be a good community. I don't want it to be like those communities that made me quit playing in 2017. So that's why I am here. So our guest today, I'm going to introduce to you, is Mr. Stephen Pepper. Stephen and I play locally together. He hangs out at another store and sometimes comes to our store. We sometimes go to his store. Stephen finished in the top 32 in Atlanta, the DLC there. And it's a challenge to play him. I'll tell you that. Always enjoy playing him. Last time I played him, though, however, it was a long time ago. I'm going to warn you, though, Stephen, the next time we play, I'm a lot better now. So, know. So anyways, so Stephen, I want to ask you a quick question. What made you play Disney Lorcana?
Sure. Well, Kelsey, first, it's great to be on. Excited to try this out with you. So the reason that I play Lorcana is, it goes back to my love of trading card games when I was a child. I played Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, and primarily Magic the Gathering, both in high school and college. I did the whole Pro Tour qualifier scene, regionals, bought the cards back when I had really more time but less money. So, I kind of build all the decks I wanted to. But I always thought in the future, I'll be in a spot where I can put a lot more time into it and really devote myself competitively. But life catches up to you. So, hadn't really done anything with it, any kind of card games. We played board games and stuff. But now I have a wife and 2 kids, and I first heard about Lorcana, I think the summer it came out. I saw it was Ryan Miller who was doing kind of a demo of it. And I said, man, that looks like Magic with Disney characters. Man, if that's a real thing, I could get my wife and kids in on that. And then, I'd have kind of like the built-in excuse to play the game, experience it, do my competitive thing, but, share the cards with them, teach them how to play, have fun with them, and really explore all parts of the game, right? Not just hey, let's go after the meta cards and build only the best decks, but build the theme decks and do multiplayer and all that kind of stuff. And it's been like a dream come true. It's, I'd always hope for something I could share with my family like that. And it's a lot easier to sell Elsa, to my daughter than it would be, anything from the other sets. So.
Yeah, my wife doesn't play. I doubt she will play. I tried to teach her how to play Magic back when we first met, and I was playing that, and it didn't go over so well. I probably shouldn't have pulled out 2 meta decks to teach her either. So,
yeah. Start small.
Right. And so, with Lorcana, I think she knows the characters too. She actually likes helping me open the packs now. We look at it like a lottery thing. I'll give them to her. She pulls more enchantments than I do. So, hey, you open them all if that's the way it's going to work, right?
Well, that's what we do with ours. We open a box. We split it, 6 packs each across the 4 of us, and we just go around in a circle and kind of share what we've opened.
Nice. Do you, when you're building a deck, do you do you go and you figure out what kind of deck you want first and then go out and get the cards, or do you just start with the cards you have and go with that?
So these days, I build the decks in Dreamboard first. I look at synergies, try to see what might work, what I think might be fun, and then it was easier when Pixelboard was out, right? You could just go on,
Yeah.
play test, and say, yeah, this deck works. Nowadays, I got to take the leap. I got to say, okay, do I really want to play some of these Oswalds? Of course, I got them, right when Set 6 came out, so they weren't quite as pricey as they've been recently. But I build the deck first, and then I'll order the cards.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I might spend too much money on it, but I do
Well,
a
like I
lot of
said, I got
sharing.
a disposable income now, so it's easier for me.
Yeah, I call it disposable income, but my wife doesn't call it that. So,
Yeah.
but I think there's a couple cards sometimes I want just for my daughter. My daughter plays. She has we let her play with a 4-color Frozen deck, and so she has Elsa's, of course, in it, and so I got the Elsa out of the Disney 100 set. That nice little alternate art, and now there's this All Is Found Enchanted that my daughter saw the art before I did, and because I was looking away from the screen when I pulled it up, and she's like, "Ooh, I want that," and I couldn't hide it from her fast enough, so now I've got to go and acquire that. So, but
Good luck.
yeah, right. I've watched 2 people pull them locally, so so okay, but so in Atlanta, when you were at the DLC in Atlanta, this was way back. I think Set 3 had come out by then. What were you playing? What did you play that you hit the top 32 with back then?
I played Ruby Amethyst. I picked it because it was a 2-game format. I guess it still is. And of all my testing, it had the highest win rate. Pixelborn was still legal back then. It was my highest win rate on the draw, and that was most important to me. I felt like I could do really well on the play, high win rate. And so if I could pick a deck that could win half my games on the draw, which is what I ended up doing, I could make day 2. Not quite enough to get top 16 and get the Continentals invite at the time, but it was really fun. I thought it was a good pick for the tournament.
Yeah, I remember a lot. There was a lot of Ruby Amethyst in that tournament. I played Emerald Amethyst, and I surprisingly every matchup I played against Ruby Amethyst, I split, and I won every one of them on the draw and lost every one of them on the play. It was crazy. It was crazy.
You can have some
Yeah,
crazy stuff like that. These days,
yeah.
when I practice for any tournament, I have a big one that I really care about, and I'm going to, go all out into a meta deck and not one of my kind of pet decks. I do almost all, and you've seen this sometimes. I do almost all my practicing on the draw. Like if I have a deck that I think I'm going to do well, I sit down with a good play partner, and I just say, "Hey, you're on the play for every game," and I start tracking the win rates. And if it's good enough, then I feel good about it. And if not, I go back to the drawing board.
So, what are you playing these days then?
I go to GMG Saturday mornings when I have time. We used to go like every weekend, but less so these days. And I play at Poker Charles on Tuesday nights, as you know.
Okay.
And then I try to hit up all the major tournaments in the area, set champs and all that kind of stuff. And when we're prepping, one of my good buddies, John Henry, if you're familiar with him, we sometimes meet locally here in the Destin area and just play at like Barnes and Noble with straight up meta decks and see what's good.
Okay.
And he's really good. He's improved a lot, I think.
Oh yeah.
It's just a matter of time before he makes day 2 or better. So
Yeah, I'll let him tell his story. I won't tell his Atlanta story. That's his to tell. So, but yeah. So looking at the meta now, like you talked about, you were doing Ruby Amethyst, and I think a lot of folks probably agree that I say they agree. I think the thing with Ruby Amethyst is, and some people might disagree with me on this and might take some flack, is boring, right? And so when a new set comes out, it's like, let me just set this aside and play with something else. But in the end, towards the end of the meta, it seems like Ruby Amethyst is always there, one way or the other, So are you playing that now? Are you looking at playing something different? Or how's your game migrated since then?
Since the DLCs kind of, ended and there was nothing new, and I decided I'm going to build my own stuff. Obviously I take inspiration from different people, and there's 2 things. I wanted, volume of different decks, so I didn't want to always play the same thing. I wanted to try a lot of different stuff. And I wanted to use cards that people weren't using a lot of, for example, but had been talked up or people were excited about when they were first revealed. My first tournament in last set champs, was I was looking at Maleficent Staff, which is whenever you bounce a character to their owner's hand, you gain a lore. And so I built this bounce deck around it and made top 8, top 4, I believe, actually. But it wasn't quite good enough. Later on, I shifted it into because it used muses and all the bounce cards, Mother Knows Best. The blue-green version of it turned out to be even better, and I was already kind of leaning towards that. And then I think it was the Forbidden Mountain guys that posted their Baja Blast deck. I call it Baja Bounce because I'm all in on that bounce package, and it was a lot of fun, but it had a lot of weaknesses, most particularly aggro, which led me to the final deck of Set Champ season, and I actually won 2 Set Champs with it. It was Amber Amethyst aggro, hyper aggro, people are familiar with. It comes and goes if people aren't prepped for it. In other words, if there's no grab your swords, then you're in a good spot typically, especially against slow control decks, which are very popular at the end of set seasons. My inspiration for it was, along the way, watching all these set champs, people were playing Diggy Hole, which is the steel amber deck with like Daisy Duck and Doc and Piglet. And too often I would see like Daisy Duck Piglet, then Daisy Duck Piglet all in a row, and that was enough to win a game. And then on the other side of me, I was watching a match, and the guy, they're playing Emerald Amethyst, tempo with the goal is at the end of the set was like 3 1-drops, right? 1-drop, 1-drop, 1-drop. And I thought, man, now's the time you could put all those cards in the same deck and have Genie as well, because Genie could close out games really easy. Mm-hmm. And sure enough, it was pretty good. I had an incredibly high win rate at the tournaments I played with it. Even obviously on the play, it's insane, almost impossible to beat. But even on the draw, especially if people don't know to, prevent you from getting the lore, you can win on turn 5 or 6, which is enough even on the draw.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm still on right now. For set 7, I added a couple of new tools, which I'm sure we'll get into.
Okay. Yeah. I'm curious to hear about those. So I, being an Emerald Amethyst player, I've played it since the very beginning, mainly because I like emeralds, probably my favorite color. Amethyst is just it's just a good practical combination to go with it. Fills in a lot of the holes that Amethyst has. And then I actually won a set championships last set 6. Now we got to say last set, right? So we're now in 7. Playing that, and it was fun. I don't get around. I don't get to play many set champs anymore. I pick one to go to, a couple to go to, and then I judge one. And family and I do a lot of stuff too. So yeah, so to make sure that I have my ducks in a row when I go, right? It can't be dilly-dallying around and trying stuff out.
Oh, right. Yeah.
So, all right. So, well, you talked about, hey, maybe we'll talk about some of that. So, I'm going to swap our screen a little bit here for folks who are watching online. So one thing that I did, so that's what I did the pilot episode with Panda, and if you guys want to watch that, I have that video uploaded to YouTube, and I can create a link for that and make that available. That video is hard to watch, to be honest with you, not because of the quality of the people in there and their knowledge, but because of the quality of my technical expertise. I had Panda muted for the first 15 to 20 minutes and didn't even know. And, when you got a stream that has no viewers, there's nobody there to tell you. Finally, somebody popped on and said, hey, I can't hear the other guy. Oh, snap. Yeah, there you go. So, so what we did, we went through the Amber cards. We had every intention of doing the whole set, but we spent too much time on Amber. So we're going to pick up this. This is my community tier list. So if folks who come on to the stream, if you got a favorite color, we'll do it. So Steven we're going to do the amethyst cards. And so we're going to start, and I'm going to come back to one. Actually, I'm going to start with a card that Panda and I already did. And I'm going to flip through these real quick. You're going to see the screen flashing in front of you. For those of you who don't like flashing lights, you can stop looking. I'll let you know when it's safe to look. There we go. Pascal. All right, so he's a 4-cost uninkable dual link amber amethyst 3/3 evasive quest for 3. So you talked about playing amber amethyst aggro. Does this card make the cut?
Well, it's a good card. I love evasive three questers at this cost. It's going to have a place in a deck sometime, I believe. It doesn't make the cut in my deck, unfortunately. I already play a lot of uninkables, certainly with another card we'll talk about here, which added to that. And it being a four cost uninkable, I have to get the four ink to play it. So if I'm already at 20, 24, 28 uninkables, it's going to have to be either a low cost uninkable or incredibly impactful. And already I had to cut the genies, which I loved, right?
Ooh,
Four cost, draw
yeah,
a card, quest for two.
yeah.
And so really this would be competing with genie as well. Um, you know, uh, it's good. I think they fill the same slot. I don't know that you could play both unless there's a deck that's like a little less aggressive. I did consider them with Lantern, so you can go turn two Lantern, turn three Pascal or Genie, and I think that'd be a good curve and put a lot of pressure on. But yeah, the way I've got the deck built right now, I'm really focused on, getting out one drops early, a bodyguard on three, either Baloo or Donald Duck. And then my four drop slot is only the goat at this point, which is inkable. So in a lot of my games, I end up just inking to three and sitting there forever. So I think this will be caught in hand a lot of times. So I do need to try them out at some point during the set. I hope just to get them out. I think Blue Steel would have a little bit of a tough time dealing with them. They got Zeus and um, Strength, obviously, but often they're using those on Daisy Duck or Piglet or something early on, anyways.
Yeah.
And so it gets to a top deck war. You put this down and maybe you can go the distance. But
There's
if I
not
played Pascal, I would take out the other card that we're going to talk about.
okay. There's not much in the meta right now to deal with evasive outside of a Maui Shark, Genie, and also anything in Amethyst. So that's always a key. So, and Amber got a little bit of evasive in it too, which is rare for that color. Okay, so got your thoughts on that? We took it and I thought it would see competitive play because I thought if Emerald Amethyst aggro would make it, I felt that would probably be the closer for it. But you know it better than I do, so I'll defer to your judgment on that one. But all right, so we're going to fly forward, flashing through them again. And we're going to get to the real Amethyst cards now. And the first one up that we're going to tier is Cusco. He's a 5-cost uninkable. Cusco Temporary Well, 1/4. Quest for 2. Don't you say a word. Once during your turn, whenever the top card is put into your inkwell, you may return chosen character, item, or location with cost 2 or less to their player's hands. Then that player draws a card. So, what do you think about this one?
I don't think it's very good. I think it, compare it to Muses and Green, for example, which is an inkable warded 4-drop that you can really build similar combos around, either on yourself or against your opponent for some kind of prison deck. It costs 1 more. It's uninkable. It does less. So, not a big fan.
All right, me either. All right. I forgot to explain the tiers for those who are watching us for the first time, and I also need to do it for Steven's benefit too. So here are our tiers. Meta. If a card is a meta-defining card, in other words, it will break the meta, it will redefine one of the meta decks or introduce a new meta deck. That's the category for meta. Competitive, it's something that could see play competitively. Doesn't necessarily mean it's meta defining, but you should be surprised if you show up to a tournament and you see it pop up in one of the major tournament decks. It's a card that you probably need to just keep on your radar so you don't get surprised by it. The maybes, these are cards that basically, in the right deck, they could see competitive play. I think Bolt, even if we put Bolt into maybe, I sometimes think Bolt might actually be competitive in certain decks. A lot of times what we look at is we look at the current meta and we say, do they fit in the current meta? Well, that's part of it. But, with a new set, the current meta is no longer current, right? It is a new meta. We're redefining that now with the new cards. So I think it could quite possibly see play. And then we have this level here. I call it Jacob. We have a guy at our shop named Jacob who makes some of the funnest decks to play against. I love his creativity. I like getting his deck list from him on Discord and messing around with him myself because there's a lot of hidden gems in there. He sees a lot of things that a lot of people just don't see with some of the cards that just get glanced over. So I created a tier just for him. This is the fun niche deck. This is like theme decks, like the puppies, the madrigals. Hey, the card could be good in those decks, but those decks may not necessarily be all that great, for competitive play. Archive, those are cards that I throw down there for later. Basically, if this game ever gets a format with singletons, these cards might show up in some type of format like that, just to be fillers for a theme or something. And then vanilla, these are your 2/2s, your 0/5s, your 4/7s that they don't do anything. They're just big bodies, things that are shift targets, stuff like that. That's what that tier is. So we got Cusco. Where would you throw Cusco, Steven?
I think he's niche. I mean, he's going to be more frustrating when you try to build a deck to like bounce your Honey Marin back and replay it a bunch. But,
I would agree with that. Yep. Okay, here we go. Tanana, 4-cost, inkable, 4/4, Tribal Elder, quest for 1. We can just call her vanilla and move on, right?
Sure. Makes it easy.
All right. Treasure Guardian, 4-cost, inkable, Treasure Guardian, Foreboding Century, 3/3, quest for 2, Untold Treasure. When you play this character, if you have an illusion character in play, you may draw a card. Okay, thoughts on this one?
I think it's pretty good. I mean, any card that has the words "draw a card" on it has to be worth a second look. A lot of it's going to depend on how good the illusions are. If there's more in future sets, like right now, you got a couple good ones. I would compare it to Grandma Tala, the 4-drop that lets you look at 2. Right, she's a 3/3, but this one quests for 2 and just draws it straight out. So comparable to that. You can imagine like a Blurple illusion deck or something like that.
Yeah, that's it. If you have an illusion in play, and right now we'll probably get to them. There's 3 illusion characters in the game. I think one of them will definitely see play. I think there's a second one that should see play, and then there's a third one that probably won't see play, but it exists. Okay, we'll come back and tear that out in just a second. All right, Honey Marin, Northuldra Guide, 2-cost, inkable, 2/2, quest for 1. Our ability, Tale of the Fifth Spirit. When you play this character, if an opponent has an exerted character in play, gain 1 lore. So, what do you think?
She's phenomenal. She's not meta. I'm not going to give her that. She's competitive. She's one of the 2 cards I added to my new deck. If you like White Rose, she costs 1 less. I know she's not a 3/3, but she's going to gain the 1 lore 100% of the time in my case, right? Because I'm only going to play her if they have an exerted character, which they're challenging me. Would you have a lot of card draw? She's just more burn off the top. I love her a lot. And later down the road, she has combo potential with things like Muses, so you could bounce her again and again and again and just gain a bunch of lore. So I think she's competitive. Obviously not meta yet, but this is a good card.
I think she's great on the draw. I don't like on the play. I mean, you don't really.
I mean, a stinker.
Yeah. So, yep, I like her. I think she'll see play. All right, so let's go back here. And we already said that she was, there we go. So Treasure Guardian, where do we drop Treasure Guardian?
Probably a maybe.
Yeah, that one's, I think, quite possibly in Purple Steel would show up because that's the one that's most likely to play the illusion. And then I'm going to go ahead and put Honey Marin up here in competitive because I've already got plans to play her in my Emerald Amethyst deck. So, but like you said, I treat her like go-go. I might drop her on turn 2 if convenient. Otherwise, I'm bringing her back, maybe bouncing her with a Fox and playing her again later.
Oh, yeah, Fox, that's another one. Yeah, and she just complements go, Goat, White Rose. It's all in the same deck. It's a lot of reach.
We got a comment in our chat. She isn't a turn 2 play typically, so on the draw play isn't too big of a deal. Yep, valid point. All right. Well, in the future, I might be able to get these chats up on the screen. I like how some of the real content creators can go up there and do that. So that's a skill I need to get. Hey, this is episode 1, though. So, all right. Okay, let's go to our next one up here. Here we go. Iago, here's our first illusion character. Iago, Giant Spectral Parrot. He is a 4/6, 4-cost inkable. has evasive and vanish quest for 1. So for those who aren't familiar with the vanish ability, which you should be, if you don't, not by now, whenever an opponent chooses this character for an action, that would be a song or an action, because songs are actions, you banish them. This is not because of abilities or character triggers or anything like that. It has to be an action card. So if this character is chosen, you resolve that action, and then you banish this character. So thoughts on Iago?
This is one of the ones that's going to be tough for me to go. I mean, obviously it's got a great body. It's a 4/6 on 4. Imagine it in blue if you're ramping out to it, or even a normal curve like Cobra into Iago. I don't know. Honestly, it's going to depend on how many actions people are playing that just get value, and the types of boards that you're contesting.
So,
I mean, it eats Bell.
Yep. I've gone through this, right? So let me set Steel aside, right, with all their burn spells. To Steel, these characters all stink, right? They're just okay. So the other character, the other colors, who plays actions that target characters? You got Brawl, but he can't really be chosen with Brawl because he's too big. He can't be chosen with to begin with. You've got Let the Storm. I mean, you got most of the cards that target characters these days actually remove the characters anyways. So nobody's really getting anything of any benefit other than targeting them anyways. Now, your exceptions would be stuff like Mother Knows Best, which does see play. Heffalumps and Woozles, that sees play, and some green decks could do it. And Painting the Roses Red, if those decks still exist that are playing that. Cards like that are the ones that really benefit from this, but they're not really seen that much. So I really think that vanish mechanic might be taken for granted when we first start up, at least with a guy like this, and also with the other one we look at.
And one thing I would add, especially if they don't have the action, it's just a good body, is that in purple red specifically, they have all of this move damage stuff, which is hard to pull off because you don't have good brawlers. You don't have things that have a high health that can survive it, that are dealing enough damage to matter. This one, I mean, you imagine this into Bell Mystic, right?
Yeah.
So this one actually has a big enough butt that you can, at an early enough time, that you can combine it with all of the other kind of move damage counter stuff.
Yeah. Yep. Good point. Let's go to the next one here, and we'll come back and we'll tear that one out. We'll do about 3 of them, and then we'll come back and tear them in a row. So we got Chernobog, Creature of the Night. He is a 2/6, 5-cost uninkable, storyborn villain. Midnight Revel. When you play this character, each opponent chooses and exerts one of their ready characters they can't ready at the start of their next turn. Any quest for 1. I really, for 5-cost uninkable, I would probably expect a little bit more than this. This is a powerful ability, but I think there's other things I'll probably be doing in a purple deck on turn 5 than this.
Well, I mean, just compare it to Elsa Rush, right? I mean,
right.
Same card, just better with the base of, right?
Yep. Elsa and Bell. Those are the two purples that I play in my deck, and for 5 costs. So I don't see it.
I'm actually surprised it's a rare, because this feels like an uncommon.
Yeah, I think that one thing I noticed with the new set, it started last set, but I think this one has picked up even more. I think that their rarities are now they're facilitating the limited format a little bit more. I'm not saying that they're ready for limited yet, and we make the most of what we can with the limited environment, but I believe that the rarity of the cards is starting to reflect what they feel these things can do in a limited environment, and kind of setting up for that. Okay, one more. Good one here. Jafar, he's a super rare. Dreamborn Villain Sorcerer. This is Jafar, newly crowned. He is a dual link, Amethyst Steel, 2/4, 4-cost, inkable, quest for 2. His ability, this is not done yet. During an opponent's turn, whenever one of your illusion characters is banished, you may return that card to your hand. I did not like sitting across from this in limited. It was very frustrating when the illusions were on the board and they wouldn't turn this sideways. So I couldn't get rid of the illusion characters. It was frustrating. So I see where this could be powerful. Whether or not it makes it into a meta deck or something like that, I'm not sure. But I'll throw it over to you.
Yeah, it's going to depend on the strength of the illusions. They're going to be really good, though, because I mean, it's a 2/4 on 4. I mean, it's competing with Genie, for example.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd have to see more than just the illusions we've got. I mean, obviously, a giant Cobra into this, you can kill something with the
Yeah.
Cobra, replay it, all that. But really, I mean, it's going back to your hand. Purple has a lot of card advantage, as the steel in some ways already. So it's not like you're generating you usually have a whole hand anyways. So, I don't think you're doing broken stuff with this a lot of the time.
Yeah. There aren't a lot of illusions now. And I think this card, next set, a lot of, I think we can speculate with it, with the next set being called Return of Jafar. Probably will have a few more illusions. And I wouldn't sleep on this card. If he's down in value, I'd probably would snag it now, because there's liable to be a couple of illusions that are going to be introduced to drive this value up. Get your foilies now. So,
I was going to say, what I'd like to see to make him good is a 1-drop phenomenal card, like a 3/3
yeah.
uninkable illusion or something like that.
Well, they got a 3/3 2-drop one.
Right, but he's inkable, so to make it, I want a 1-drop.
I got you.
The better, the more powerful it is, the better he'll be.
I hear you. No 1-drop's as good as a Curse Merfolk anyways. All right. This one, I think, with Giant Cobra, I really like the fact that, if somebody wants to kill my Cobra and this card is out, it's coming back to my hand and I can drop it again for it comes into play effect, which we'll see when we get to it. I think that is kind of a turnoff for a lot of folks to, like, why would I want to kill that Cobra if they're just going to get it back and replay it? And, so might have him stick around a little bit. All right, let's go to the tier list again real quick, and let's put him out there. So we got Iago. He was the 4/6 evasive with Vanish. I lean towards niche, but I tell you,
maybe it's good.
I have a maybe on it. It's a big body. Right now, I don't think the meta is positioned right now to deal with the Vanish characters outside of Steel. I mean, Steel aside, no other color, I think, is really in a position to deal with them, with their bodies. Like I said, because the main card that's played is Brawl, and Brawl can't target any of them. So, we got Chernobog. I think he's niche fun. I would just archive him, to be honest with you. All right, and then Jafar. I'm gonna put him up here. I got to put him in maybe, because I'm looking forward to the next set. He's workable with the Giant Cobra right now, but that's the only one we've got that I think we'll see play. Raja may see play in the right deck. But okay, so let's go take a look at the next couple cards here. All righty, here we go. Hades, Fast Talker. He is a dual ink Amethyst Ruby, 4/6, 6-cost uninkable quest for 2. His ability, for just a little pain. When you play this character, you may deal 2 damage to another chosen character of yours to banish chosen character with cost 3 or less. Go ahead, Steven. I'll let you take first shot at this one.
He's a good card. I mean, if you compare him to the obvious Madame Medusa and Lady Tremaine, they're 3/4 and 4/4 respectively. He's a 4/6 that quests for 2, so he's got the biggest body and quests at the same amount that Tremaine does. He does damage somebody when he comes into play of yours, so you have to take that into account. But maybe it's a Kuzco or a character that draws a card or something. And as the game gets more mature, it gets more and more sets. I typically, the way it happens is fewer big cards are played, and so 6 will probably be the top of the curve even then. So there'll be a lot more characters that are 3 or less. So long term, I think he's going to already he's competitive with those other 2 uninkable 6-drops, and long term he may surpass them. So
I see his value. I'm looking at the the Amethyst Ruby kind of template they have right now with the damage. And there's a lot of things set up. There's a lot going on with damage right now. You get characters come into play with damage, and then you've got the moving around of damage, and then you got green-red that could benefit from the damage. And of course, this isn't green-red or emerald and ruby. But the question that I asked myself was, and you made a comment to that, maybe as the game progresses along, that top end kind of squeezes in a little bit, right? Right now, I look at it and I go, what's out there that costs 3 or less that I either haven't taken care of or is really giving me a problem by the time turn 6 rolls around? And I say that in all honesty because a lot of times we're all jostling for board position and taking out, and the 3 costs or less. They're usually the first ones gone by attrition, right? So, anyways, so
This is
I
true. It's not killing
yeah
Automatoa. There's a lot of those running around. So I wouldn't use them
yeah.
in place of, Tremaine, or although Tremaine's not very good right now either with bells just take it out. But yeah.
So we got a question in chat. Do either of you see any cards coming out in the future that take effect on one's inkwell, or taking cards away, something more that prevents those bounce back card plays? So I can tell you that in listening to Steve Warner, there is no area that they're not going to explore when it comes to design. And I think eventually you will see something with that effect, basically affecting your opponent's equal. But I'll tell you, it'll be done very carefully because I know, and I'm going to go ahead and talk about this other card game, right? My favorite deck that I used to play in Magic, and I did it just to troll people, uh, was a red blue. They used to call it Annex Wildfire deck, where I would play Boomerang and Out of Nowhere, Eye of Nowhere, and so essentially, if I was on the plane, it would be Island Go, and then another island, and then with Boomerang, I'd bounce your land back to your hand, and then on turn 3, I'd play another card to bounce your other land back to your hand. Then on turn 4, I'd play Annex, and I'd take the land that you stuck. And then I'd play Wildfire and basically deal 4 damage to all characters, and each player sacrifices 2 lands, and I'd stack the lands I took from you, And so I had people. I can't tell you how many times people would scoop when I would turn to Boomerang their land. Nobody wants to play against that. Nobody wants to play when you mess with their resource gainer. And so you got to be very careful when you come messing around with somebody's inkwell in this game, because that's the fastest way to turn people off. Yep. That's the fastest way to turn people off. But it is a design space, and I think it'll be approached with caution. I don't think they'll. One thing that has impressed me about them, about the designers of the game, is they're introducing cards like Bucky being the exception. They're introducing cards and they're very careful. Like Ink Geyser. Like you see that there might be something there, but the more you twist it around, you go, maybe there's not. Maybe there is. Now, somebody will break it one day with something that comes out in the future, but I like how they kind of trickled it in, and so. Good question. Good question. If we didn't answer your question, ask it again in a different way, because sometimes I don't answer questions the right way. Okay. Here we go. We talked about Hades. Madame Medusa. She is a 3. This is Madame Medusa Diamond Lover. She is a 3/4 dual link Amethyst Ruby 4-cost inkable. Quest for 1. Her ability, Search the Swamp. Whenever this character quests, you may deal 2 damage to another chosen character of yours to put the top 3 cards of chosen player's deck into their discard. I'm going to let you go first because I have something about this one. Go ahead.
Well, hopefully I don't contradict you, but I think it's pretty bad. I
Pretty
mean,
bad.
what would be wrong with the card if it just milled the 3 cards without dealing damage to your own people, right? So I don't get it.
So I've been messing around with a deck in these 2 colors that, of course, moves damage around, but uses the queen to where she can remove 3 cards from opponent's discard and then gain the lore. And I like her in that deck, and this feeds that. That's what I like about it. It gives me the damage to move around. So I'm playing with her. I'll let you know later about how she turns out. But I like her as a feeder. She feeds 2 parts of the strategy of that deck.
No, I get that. That makes sense. It was just basically I didn't understand why they added the drawback, because it doesn't seem like it's that overpowered for the stats and everything else going on that you had to also deal 2 damage to a character to get the effect.
Right. I don't, and so I know a lot of you look at that 2 damage as drawback because we come from the Teeth and Ambitions world, right? Because that was the first card that came along to kind of introduce that effect. But now they have enough cards that are moving damage around and cards that get an advantage by having damage, like card soldiers or characters whose power increases if they have damage on them. And Donald Duck, right? He quests for, the old legendary Donald Duck, who's, he gets 1 lore for 1+ for each damage on him up to 5, I think it was. So now he might be playable. So, and I can tell you he is.
No, I believe it. I've seen decks that have him in it. He's
I've been messing around with it on Lorcanito, so just having some fun. All right, here we go. Teka, Elemental Terror, 12/12. He is a beast. Cost 10. He is inkable. Shifts for 7. Quest for 3. Ancient Rage, during your turn, whenever an opposing character is exerted, banish them. So let me just clarify what this means, because there have been questions about this. It is when a character, read that is as becomes exerted. If I play him and you already have an exerted character, this does not banish them. So this is banishing them when they become exerted and he is in play on your turn. I got him out in our sealed deck tournament.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, I shifted him onto the little one, and I will tell you this: some unnamed little kid who comes with his father to those tournaments took him out on 1 turn. So it was a nice little moment. I celebrated that I got him in play, and he celebrated that he took him out on the next turn that I quested with him. So it was impressive. It was pretty impressive how he did it. So, yeah, big one. I would love to be able to get it in play. Don't know how yet, but yeah.
Well, so in other card games, they term this as a reanimator target, or
right.
You bring it back or you cheat it and play in some ways, like the green Hercules card would normally do it. But obviously, this is in Amethyst Ruby, and there's no ramp in these colors. There's no reanimation in these colors. There's no cheat things into play in these colors.
Right.
So you're gonna have to do it the old-fashioned way. And I don't know that. It's a lot of resources to put towards a card like this. It's gonna be in your hand. It's gonna be in your inkwell most of the time.
Yeah, I agree. The main color for the animator effects is really amber right now. Now, Amethyst is playing around with the discard piles more than anybody right now. So I'm curious to see if maybe this card would keep them from doing that with Amethyst. So yeah, let's go back and let's tear out these last 3 we did. So we got Hades. Man, we talked about him so much, I forgot what they do. I'm going to go back to him. Hold on. Bam, bam.
He's like a Medusa type.
Yeah. I can see his potential, but I'm not convinced. I just think that
I don't think he's competitive yet. I don't think he's that. I mean, he's not niche, so probably in the maybe pile.
Maybe. All right, so I'm put Madame Medusa in the niche, but when I'm done with that deck, I'm gonna have her up in maybe. Or competitive. So, and then Teka, I gotta archive this Joker. I'm waiting for the right deck for him to come out and to be a thing in.
I can see that.
All right, here we go. Oh, my daughter, she's gonna love the next one. Go, Elsa. Trusted Sister, 2/3, 2 cost inkable. Quest for 1. She is a storyborn hero, queen sorcerer. She touches them all, almost. What do we do now? Whenever this character quests, if you have a character named Anna in play, gain 1 lore. So, yeah, I think this one will fall in the niche category, but I'm never too fast. Yeah, well, I know. So I tell you this. I told you about my daughter's deck, right? And it's not a competitive deck. But man, I watched the Anna and Elsa interactions between some of those cards in their deck, and I'm like, maybe I should try this out. You can lock down somebody in a heartbeat. And if this,
I like the 1/4 that quest for 2, right? The 1/4 Anna.
It gives all your other heroes +1. and she's a
Oh, yeah, there's a
hero.
4-drop that does that as well. There's a 2-drop, but
Yeah,
she
yeah.
just quests for 2,
Yeah,
basically.
yeah, the 2-drop quest for 2. Yeah, and then my daughter, like, she'll play that 4-drop too, and she'll quest with it, and all of her characters are heroes, and so then now they're all questing for more because she lets when she quests, all the heroes quest for one more. So yeah, I would say don't write this one off yet. It may yet see some play, but not in a competitive deck. I don't think it's vanilla because I have seen what Anna and Elsa do together at the hands of my
Yeah.
daughter.
Well, I was just thinking it was like a
Yeah,
2/3 that quests for 2, basically.
yeah,
Which,
essentially. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Madam Mim, cheating spellcaster. She is a 4/5, 6 cost, inkable, quest for 2. Whenever this character quests, exert chosen opposing character. Yeah, most of these that exert opposing characters, there are some decks that can take advantage of it, but they're not competitive decks yet. So it's just anytime I see the exert chosen opposing character. Now, I can tell you, I do love this effect when I get it out of my big Ursula. Whenever she quests for 3 and I can exert a chosen character and then, smack into somebody, especially, but I usually that effect is most effective when I shift her in onto the 2-drop Ursula on turn 5 and nobody sees it coming. Now when she's on the board, they see it coming and they prep for it. This one they're going to see coming, mainly because you got to wait for her to quest and she has nothing to shift onto. But
yeah, you like Rush Elsa, these kind of things, or even
yeah,
the
yeah,
2-drop Pinocchio.
yep. All right, and one more. Let's hit the next one here. Oh, here we go. Giant Cobra. Here's one. We already talked about him a little bit, so here we are. All right, Giant Cobra. He is a dual link amethyst steel, 4/4, 3 cost inkable. That is a big body for that much inkable for just that little ink. But he has Vanish, and we've already talked about what Vanish does. Quest for 1. His ability, Mysterious Advantage. When you play this character, you may choose and discard a card to gain 2 lore. Fire away, Steven. Let's hear it.
Well, obviously meta. It's already been proven in recent decks. I believe it won a tournament today.
Yep.
They only had 3 copies, so.
There.
It has a similar effect as the GOAT, 2 free lore immediately. I mean, you have to discard a card, so there's a cost, but you're playing docks and you're in purple, so you're going to have the cards. And on 3, it dominates the board. Like, obviously, they can trade a Fox into it or something, but it's going to eat Bell, it's going to eat Smee and Calhoun and everything else.
Eats
Phenomenal card.
Daisy. It eats
Probably the
Daisy.
best of the purple.
Yep.
Yeah,
Hey,
and it eats my Daisy too. I did find
yep.
that in a Tuesday tournament that I had to find a way to kill this thing before I could resume questing with my daisies because I didn't want it. Typically, Daisy survives a couple
Yeah.
hits. This doesn't let it.
Yeah, and you know what? What I like about it is exactly what you said. You had to wait a couple turns to quest with Daisy, and that couple turns could be what costs you the game in an aggro deck sometimes.
So if
You know.
this card is popular, that means that my Amethyst Amber is going to have to go on the shelf because Daisy's the critical turn 1 play, and it
Yeah.
is bad in every way against this card. It's a character that I'm feeding them if I'm questing with Daisy. It feeds them extra cards to discard, so they're guaranteed the 2 lore, and it just dominates Daisy on the board. So yeah, I don't want to see sit across from this card.
So as an Emerald Amethyst player, I love this card for the very reason you just said that, because I tailored my deck. I built my deck to deal with Daisy, right? I have like no actions in it. So everything you flip, I'm going to get in my hand. And I have, Crab with Cusco so that I could, draw a card, you kill your Daisy. Well, I won't do it if I did Daisy, but I could, run Cusco into her with Crab ability. I got all these pumpers to just take care of Daisy. I need Daisy gone so I could get back to playing my deck the way I really want to play it. So, and if this guy's going to help me facilitate it, my hat's off to you, sir. I appreciate you being around. So, yeah, I will go back. Let's go back here. So we definitely are I'm going to just skip ahead on him. He is meta, like you said. Our first meta card here. That card is pretty awesome. It's the bee's knees. Now you think about it, what's going to get rid of it that's not steel to start off with the game? There's not much out there right now. Okay, so we got Elsa. I'll buy vanilla with her, Okay, and then what was the other one we just did? Madam Mim. Yeah, we'll archive her. Maybe in some exert deck she'll find a happy home. All right, here we go. Here's our next one is our Teika shiftable target. Okay, Teika Lava Monster. 5/6, 6 cost inkable. He quests for 2, has Challenger 2. Just a big body, big Challenger, quest for 2. Yeah, honestly, it's just vanilla to me at that. So
Yeah, I agree.
all right, we're going to boogie through these. All right, here we go. Yzma, Transformed Kitten. She is a 2/1, 2 cost inkable. She quests for 1, and I win. When this character is banished, if you have more cards in your hand than each opponent, you may return this card to your hand. I don't know why I would want to return it in my hand. It doesn't do anything when I play it again. So, you know.
Yeah, it's pretty. I would say it's niche. It's
Yeah.
there's some combos with rush that you can give it and attack with it over and over again, I guess.
Yeah, I mean,
But,
you can do that with Hey
hopefully
too.
you're playing better cards with your resources.
Yeah, but this one, your opponent has to have more cards in their hand than. I mean, you have to have more cards in your hand than your opponent. So, yeah, I wouldn't play. Bucky, Nutty Rascal, welcome back, buddy. He is a 3/2, 3 cost inkable, quest for 1. These should be the stats he should have had to begin with, right? Isn't that almost what they did with him before? He's a 1/2. Okay. Pop. When this character is banished in a challenge, you may draw a card. Yeah, sorry, bud. They tried, right?
It's almost there. If it was just draw a card when he died, I would consider him.
Yeah. If he's almost there, right? They should take some of what they overdid with the other one and apply it to this one. All right, let's go back to our chart real quick. So Teika, we vanillaed him. Yzma, we weren't really impressed with her. They would throw her a niche, I think it was. Bucky, they're just really. Okay, how many more we got here? We got to go. Man, this is a big color. All right. Pain. He's a vanilla. He's your new Olaf, right? 1/3, 1 cost inkable. Quest for 1. Doesn't do anything.
Yep.
All right. He is an ally, though. Okay, here's our last illusion character, Raja Ghostly Tiger. A 3/3, 2 cost inkable. Quest for 1 has Vanish. I think this could see play for the same reasons we talked about. Folks like Snake on turn 2. This one's a Snake that doesn't have to return the card back, but I mean, he is kind of fickle. But like I said, till some people bring stuff, I ink him against Steel. Don't get me wrong, but against anything else, I think he's, But you have to ask yourself the question too, right? If I'm playing against anything that's, Ruby Sapphire, I guess he takes Bell out now, so you can't sing. I wouldn't be surprised to see this guy show up in some meta decks. Like I said, I'm not saying he's meta defining. I think he'll see competitive play though.
Yeah, I mean, there's the 2-drops are getting more and more competitive with each passing set, right? Yep. So I mean, he's no Smee, he's no Calhoun. I would argue that Snake's still better depending on the deck, but if you don't need the bounce of Snake, I'd probably play this guy over him. Yeah,
you're right. It's that bounce ability of Snake that makes him so valuable too. We just accept the 3/3 body. Okay, Croc, laid back, 4/4, 5 cost uninkable, quest for 2. Ward, if an effect would cause you to discard one or more cards, you don't discard. If Emerald Steel, this card makes a comeback, this is your man right here to fight that. So
you got Ward too. That's good.
Yeah. So I think outside of that, I say he's niche outside of that because hey, I'm going to discard my whole hand. Oh no, I'm not. So I
mean, he's a 5-cost uninkable, so you'll be lucky if you still have him by the time you get to turn 5.
Right. Okay, so we got Payne, who is a vanilla. He was our new Olaf, although he wants to jump up there in my archive. We got Raja. I say he's competitive. What about you?
We can put him in competitive. Yeah, I mean,
okay.
I think so.
And then I'm going to put Kronk in niche. Although, like I said, I'm going to move him up to competitive if Green Steel discard is a thing. Mother Gothel. She is a limited nightmare. I loved having her in play. She is a 1/4 dual link Ruby Amethyst. Cost 3 inkable. Quest for 1. Her ability, now you've upset me. Whenever one of your character challenges, you may move one damage counter from chosen character to chosen opposing character. I would say this is niche, but in limited, it's a powerhouse. I really don't think it sees play outside of that, though.
Yeah, I can see it in limited for sure. This is the type of ability that's hard to play around because sometimes you don't even read it right.
Yep. Most people
Every
don't
time
read
a
it
character
right.
challenges, yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Sven, he was one of the reveals when the set first came out. He is a keen-eyed reindeer, 2/6, 5 cost inkable. Quest for 1 has Rush, formidable care. When you play this character, chosen character gets -3 power this turn. Everybody kind of tried to compare it to Elsa. It's not Elsa. But go ahead.
I mean, it's a blurple removal spell. It would be Elsa's number 5 and 6, I think, if you want that many 5-drops. But it's not going
Yeah,
to replace Elsa. She does too much.
I guess if you're going to run your other stuff into something, doesn't tap anything down though if they're holding back.
Yeah, I mean, it is a removal spell, right? You
Yeah.
put this on 5, you're probably getting free value and keeping your board. So
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I suppose. Diablo. He is a dual link Emerald Amethyst. 1/2. 2 cost inkable, has evasive, and Challenger 2. He quests for 1. So my thoughts on this are I'd rather play Sir Hiss. So, because he'll die to Brawl, Sir Hiss will not. So that's it.
true. I mean, they both have the evasive quester.
Yeah.
Sir Hiss is also a 3 strength thing. I think the benefit for this one is you could build a deck with a lot of Diablos and have guaranteed shift targets, right? And just heavily mulligan for the 3-drop Diablo, and this is just another shift target for him.
In Emerald Amethyst, I really don't. I personally, I'm not an Emerald Amethyst expert, but that's just what I play and is what I'm most familiar with. I don't like Diablo in it because he's too slow, and I have enough card draw with other things.
That's true.
I try to do some other things with Emerald Amethyst, and I just, like I said, I'd rather just play. If I'm going to play something that I need evasive, Sir Hiss he hangs around a little bit more. If Flynn Rider ever makes it back in the meta, he stops Flynn Rider, but I think those days are gone with Bell now. So, all right. Here we go. So we got Mother Gothel. I think she's niche. Actually, I'll archive her. I don't even think she's niche. I don't think she makes it in any deck. Sven, maybe. 5th Elsa, you think?
I don't know if he's a long way away from competitive, I think.
Yeah. Let's archive. We're done with him. Diablo, I'll put him in niche for somebody who's going to build that big Diablo deck, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, that's a lot of Diablos.
It's a lot of Diablos. There's a lot of them out there. Okay. All right, here we go. Merlin, clever, clairvoyant, 0/1, 1 cost inkable, quest for 1. Whenever, I'm not even going to read his ability's name. Prestidigitonium. There you go. Prestidigitonium. There we go. All right, I did it. Hey, whenever this character quests, name a card, then reveal the top card of your deck. If it's a name card, put it into your inkwell face down and exert it. Otherwise, put it on the top of your deck. Okay. What do you think?
I think it's better than niche. Obviously, it's not competitive, I don't think, but I love me some 1-drops with a lot of text, and this is one of those. And more importantly than anything, you could have card advantage with this if you build the deck around it, is that this is a really good shift target for the tutor Merlin, the one that can search for a card. I've been looking for a better target than Rabbit. I don't know. If Merlin ever builds a combo deck where you want that kind of effect, this is a great 1-drop.
I agree with you on that. I tag him as when you get a combo deck where you're going to have to search for that piece and that Merlin comes in, this will be in that deck. But otherwise, and of course, there's also the synergy with the cottage, but he's going to quest to get that, and then he's going to die. So you'll get one kick out of it. You'll get 1 ink out of it. So, but that's if you have the cottage or you have a lucky guess. Yzma, she is a dual link Emerald Amethyst, 3/8, 7 cost inkable. She shifts for 5. She is Floodborn. She has evasive, quest for 2. back to work. Whenever another character is banished in a challenge, return that card to its player's hand. Then that player discards a card at random. So, I've heard a lot of talk about this one. Let's just treat it like it's going to come in on turn 5. Okay. Look at the shiftability. What are you going to shift it on? First and foremost, don't know yet. But that effect, whenever another character is banished in a challenge, return that card to its player's hand, then that player discards a card. So it's, what about Bruno, really on a stick, if the character is banished in challenge?
It's kind of chaotic. Think about it. If she comes in, you banish one of their characters, you challenge with like something you've got on board versus theirs, you both die, you both bounce, maybe their card comes back. A lot going on with this one. I don't think it's a competitive card. It could be fun in multiplayer though, right?
Yeah.
Imagine this on the board, everyone's getting all their cards back, and
Oh, dude. You know what? I'm gonna build a multiplayer deck just for this. We do have a team play tournament coming up at our store, and I believe I am going to put this card in that deck. I appreciate that. Yes. Niche play. All right. Let's tear these out real quick. Merlin. I think he's niche for now, with an eye to competitive, or maybe. Your thoughts?
No, he's probably niche. I guess Hannah considered the fact that they would kill him after the first quest.
Yeah, he's not going to hang around. I'm not going to let him hang around. Even Daisy, I'd run my Daisy into him. Yzma, I guess we just said she's niche. And, we only did 2. Okay. All right. So it is 8:30. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 more cards to do. Do you want to power through those 16, or do we want to call it at 8:30? So that was, we wanted to time box our stream to about.
Maybe one more. I want to talk about Show Me More.
All right, let's skip forward. All right. Steven's been waiting for this card, everybody. I know. I'll tell you what. All right. Let's speed through them real quick. We don't have time about it, right?
Okay,
let's just make a quick one on this. Elsa.
Yeah, and that's niche. Yeah.
Niche. Yanai. Never play it. I know it looks fun, but
too neat. Yeah, it's not gonna get there.
Too tricky. Cusco. I tried to figure out when I would use his abilities. I can't figure it out yet, but I'd like to reserve that one day. In a discard deck with Prince John, maybe. The old Donald Duck. Anna. When you play his character, choose a pair, can't ready to start next turn. Typical Anna stuff. So we'll move on. Donald Duck. I wanted to talk about this one too. Opponents need 25 lore to win the game. Quest for 3, 7 cost unequal. I doubt he'll see play, but I love that they messed around with the rules on this card.
Yeah, it reminds me of there's a card in Magic the Gathering called Platinum Angel. It says that you can't lose the game and your opponents can't win. It's a 7-drop. It's tough to kill. But no, this one, they could just kill it, right? You can't turn it sideways if they're at 21 lore, so it just sits there. Not a very good card.
Yeah. Yep. The Queen, I want to talk about this one. So she's a 4/3, 4-cost inkable. Quest for 1. Her ability is choose 3 cards. You exert her. Choose 3 cards from chosen opponent's discard pile and put them on the bottom of their deck to gain 3 lore. If any princess cards are moved this way, gain 4 lore instead. So I just look at it as I'm going to gain 3 lore. If I have to catch a princess, that's fine. And like I said, I've been playing around with her in that damage deck where I'm moving damage around and putting cards in discard. And that might not be the right deck for her, but she's powerful. I glanced over it first and then I said, no, wait a minute. I wanted to mess around with people's discard, And now I might just pull her out and put her in another deck. She would probably go in my Emerald Amethyst deck, to be honest with you.
It's still kind of vulnerable for her cost, but with people relying on the discard these days, this is one of the ways that it's a good card that messes with the discard.
Yeah. One thing I learned with this game, especially learning with the decks that I play, outside of aggro, like if you can get, a lot of times Daisy's an exception. That's why she's so good. She can usually hang around and get her lore for 2 or 3 turns before somebody's able to deal with her. But for the most part, most aggro cards or cards that produce a high amount of lore are very vulnerable in the early game. And anything that can quest for 3 is great. I like that. You know, are there some other 3-cost cards that I would play? Probably, but most of them are uninkable. So this essentially to me is she's questing for 3, but maybe 4 if I get lucky. But all right, so this guy, he's in my moving damage deck, by the way. Just 1. Whenever an opponent chooses this character for an action ability, you may draw a card. Archimedes might see play, I think. Another vanilla, another magical, a pretty Mufasa card that we'll never see play. Magical maneuvers, return chosen character of yours to your hand to exert a character. Not really. Not that this is my family. Pretty good card, I think.
I think this is a good card. I think this is my family will see play.
Yep. Surprised you. Do you play her in the aggro deck? Do you play this in the aggro deck?
No, she's an uninkable. I tried to fit it in.
That's right. Yeah, the uninkable
more
problem.
reach. But,
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Here we go. Show me more. Fire away, man. This is your card. Let me read it for everybody. Show me more. It has 2 costs uninkable. Each player draws 3 cards. Action. Each player draws 3 cards. What do you think?
Okay. I think it's a phenomenal card and 2 specific types of decks. One of which I play, Hyper Aggro. You don't play it early. You get as much lore as you can. You get your 1-drops out, your piglets, quest as much as possible. And then, when you get to that 15, 16, 17 lore, you play Show Me More. You're usually at least 4 ink. Then you ink one of the 3 cards, and then, you play the rest of your hand, typically 1 or 2 drops. And they've got to answer it. And they may have drawn an answer, but if they're at 5 ink as well, they can only usually use one of the cards. So you play this basically the next to last turn of the game as one of the most efficient card draws you can in Hyper Aggro. People used to play Amethyst Chromacon. I was never a fan because it replaced itself the first turn, so you didn't actually get any card value from it. On the second turn, you finally are up 1, and it was 3 turns before you really saw any extra value. And of course, the whole time they've had extra time to play their cards. So that's the first deck. Is any kind of aggro deck that wants to finish out the game, you're going to put a bunch of threats down all at once, right? Imagine how good Whole New World is because you break the symmetry of it. Because I'm going to use all of my cards and they're not. The other deck is any kind of combo deck that comes out that involves Amethyst down the line. There's ways to filter for combo pieces. There's ways to do this. This just costs 2. You could, I've played it where I've drawn extra copies of the Show Me More, and you kind of like avalanche them together. I know they get the cards, but as long as you're trying to win the game off the cards you draw, so they don't get to play theirs, it's basically pay 2, draw 3 cards. So
cool. Nice. Yeah. I definitely saw this in an aggro deck. I also see this, in the Emerald Amethyst, I have ways of closing out the game that I like to close out. I like Hades. I think it's a great card. A lot of people don't play it, but against the right deck, he's the best closer for that deck, period. But a lot of times at the end of the game, I just need to find something. I need to find that extra to push me over. And whether it's a go-go or, goat or something like that. And so I had also targeted this card for my deck. I hadn't figured out what I was going to take out for it because I don't play actions. And so, but Daisy's going away. Maybe I'll be back to actions again. So, I take that back. I do play 2 Ring the Bell because that's my favorite card in the game. And I will always play Ring the Bell in any Emerald deck I play. But I never get that caught. I never get caught with that. So, yeah. And I don't like Pete. So Pete also, so I stay away from actions. This card has made me say, okay, maybe I'm going to put an action back in my deck again, But I like your assessment
my last
of it.
argument for this one is, with my experience as a Magic player over the years, there have been some cards that are symmetrical like this, where both players draw X number of cards, sometimes literally X cards, and they've almost always been good. So,
Yep.
Yeah. As long as you build your deck where you're going to get the cards, but your opponent isn't, this is going to be good.
they're good because people wait around for the right deck to take advantage of it in, you know. And one thing I like about aggro is, and you can play this early in aggro and still be okay, because most of the time you're, like you said, you're going to be able to play whatever you get. Your opponent is going to have a fistful of cards. They can have as many cards in their hand as they want. I just don't want them on the board. So
That's right.
you know,
Yeah. So if they're playing Tamatoa, like Tamatoa is horrible. The new one is horrible against this card, right? It's a 6-drop that's already drawing. You know, when you compare the two, you know, they're not really. If they play a Tamatoa after I play this, it doesn't do anything.
mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. Okay. So this card then, where would you put it in the tier?
I think it's meta.
Meta? Yeah, I would agree with you on that. I think that we're not in the
What's our
purple world
definition of
anymore.
meta? Do I think anybody
So,
else is going to play it?
so well, you know, honestly, now remember when I defined meta. So you most of the time people look at meta as, well, I'm looking at my existing decks. Are they going to get better? That's the meta we deal with as we move in here, right? But new cards come along to help us redefine the meta, which we introduce new archetypes. We reintroduce old ones that weren't in meta. And in this case, I think it reintroduces, along with a couple other cards, you know, aggro back to the, you know, it brings it back to the table. Now, I know that Bell, everybody looks at Bell and they say, well, Bell's going to stop aggro. Is it? I mean, I don't think so. I don't, the Bell's not going to stop Daisy by herself. It's still going to take 2 cards. Most decks are already preparing to take care of Daisy with 2 cards. Bell's no different. She can sing. We still ain't gonna kill Daisy with whatever she sings, you know. So I still think, I think that aggro really is going to show its face in this meta, despite what people think with the Bell. Now I know there's a lot of steel going around with their burn spells, but you know, Daisy's still a problem for them.
My experience so far against the blue steel specifically has been, it has not been an unfavorable matchup. Bell hasn't been an issue now, and I don't think they're going to add grab your swords. They don't have room for it to compete with all the mirror matches. So yeah, I like my chances.
Yeah, yep, I agree. All right, so I'm gonna pull that up into meta until somebody proves us otherwise. And they'll do that by, we look at the meta list the next 2 weeks and we don't see
I'm
it.
not saying anyone's going to play with it until they figure it out. If Brennan DeCandio is still playing, I think he would, you know, be experimenting with it.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, there was one of the cards there. There were about 5 cards in this set that made me step back and reevaluate what I was doing with my own deck. Now, I don't think that right now with Emerald Amethyst, I'm not there with it being a top tier deck yet. We really didn't receive a lot of love this set. But there are a couple cards that I'm looking at and say, okay, they make a couple other cards better, or they are replacements for some other cards. And the next set, if we get something that pushes us over, you know, like Go-Go did it for us in the last couple sets, you know, last set, you know, something like that comes along that really puts us back up. So, you know, Show Me More, I think, is something that it's the new friends, but it's situational. I think you know how to play it. I know how to play it. It's not automatic.
Oh yeah, it's a hard card, especially being uninkable on top of it. So, you know, you're gonna have to play it during at some point.
Okay, so before we close out, I have something I want to do. I already warned Stephen way ahead of time on this one, whether or not I can get the screen to show it just right. So what I'm going to ask Stephen to do is to look at a card, a Lorcana card, that I'm only going to show him the top part of the card. Now, this is inspired from playing Pack Rush, believe it or not. I was playing Pack Rush with a friend of mine, and I left my glasses at home, and I couldn't read the cards. And so there were cards we were playing with packs from old sets. And so I should know the cards, right? Well, I didn't. I had to ask, what does this card do? What does this card do? So I was like, you know what? I wonder how many cards are like this and how many people really glance over these cards. So I'm putting Steven on the spot. He may know it or he may not know it. So let me swap it out here real quick. And Steven, can you see that card?
I can, yes.
All right. It is Bruno's Return. It is a 2-cost uninkable action. What does it do?
I believe it returns a character from your discard to your hand, and you heal a character too.
And
Think of the right one.
almost. You got it. Yes. Return a character from your discard to your hand, then remove up to 2 damage from chosen character. Outstanding job. This was not the card, by the way, that got me. I will get the card that got me, and it will be on this stream. So I want to see if somebody else will get it. But anyways, good job, man. Good job on that one. Well, thanks a lot for joining me, man. I appreciate it. I enjoyed the conversation with you. You're always welcome back on here, and we will finish out. We've done with the purple cards. We'll move on, right? So the colors get smaller. Yeah, the colors get smaller in number as you go along because the top first 2 colors have most of the dual link cards in them. So, all right, man. Well, you have a good night. And for those of you who joined us, I appreciate it. And we will be back here again next week at 7:30. I have a special guest next week. Mr. Russell Perry will be joining me. He is a judge he judged at the DLCs. He was, I'll let Russell tell you who he is, but we'll talk about a little bit about Lorcana rules and judging things. If you're interested in being a judge, maybe you should pop in on that and just ask him some questions in the chat. So until then, I hope you all have fun and may your decks be spicy. All right, man.